Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Ellis Park here on Saturday. It is the 17th of June 2023. Gonna look at the stakes races on the program from Ellis, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Get 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean around the world. Let's look at the stakes action, races 8 and 9 from Ellis. The 8th race, it is the Monomoy Girls Stakes. It's going for $175,000 purse, race for 3-year-old fillies. Field of 6 horses going to the main track. The distance of ground of 1,600 meters, if you want to go with that, with the distance of ground of 1 mile on the Ellis main track. 1,600 meters, 1 mile here in the Monomoy Girl. And early on in this quite unexpected June meeting from Ellis, this main track is playing towards speed. You need to be forwardly paced. And Wet Paint, she can sit closer, but I think there's a horse that has a little bit more early speed that could really hold on. And I think that's going to be my top selection, the 4-horse Hoosier Filly. I'm going to go 4-1-5-6 in the superfecta. 4-1-5-6 super. Top selection, the 4-horse Hoosier Filly. 3-year-old filly by Into the Mischief. Tom Amos trains, gets Morales up in the saddle. The horse's most recent out came 19th of May at Pimlico, a mile and eighth in the Black-Eyed Susan, and the horse finished second by 3 1/4 lengths that day. Was with them early on in the front end after not the best beginnings. I've seen worse beginnings, but it wasn't great either. But she was on the front end. She got caught by Tax late. You know, she just couldn't win, but she ran her heart out. I think cutting back to a mile where she could be forwardly paced on the speed-favoring track, I think she could improve and run a good race here today. Two back in the Fairgrounds Oaks at the Fairgrounds, mile 16, 25th of March. She finished fourth by 15 1/4 lengths that day, and she just kind of stuck. She had the lead. She got overtaken late. What can you do? It just wasn't her day to win there. And then the Fairgrounds and the Rachel Alexander, the horse finished third by 8 1/4 lengths that day. She just didn't break so well, and it probably cost her. I don't know if she wants to go 2 turns. She won around 2 turns twice in her life, but those are races where she had everything her own way in easy spots. She won the Rags to Riches in the fall at Churchill on the Slop, going a mile 16th, winning by 7 3/4 on a speed favoring track. Came back to win the Golden Rod by 5 against some not so tough horses. Pretty Mischievous finished third, but she wasn't the Pretty Mischievous that went on to win the Rachel Alexander, who went on to win the Oaks and won the Acorn a few weeks ago. But this horse, she was great 2-year-old. The 3-year-old form has been a little hit and miss, but, I think cutting back in trip to a somewhat one-turn mile, training well, she's in a better spot to win. I'll use her. Wet Paint could win also, but the biggest question is she'll have to sit a little closer. In the fantasy, she closed up from nowhere. I thought she was just a little bit too out of it in the Kentucky Oaks. She didn't run bad, but she was just a little bit too out of it there. But when the Honeybee, when the Martha Washington, a decent place going a mile of turf where she sat a little closer. It wouldn't surprise me if she wins, but 6-5, I think it's a little bit too short. I think 7-5, the other horse is too short also, but I think they'll bet this one to the ground. I think Hoosier Philly might go up a little bit in odds, but I'll use her in the big 4, but I do think Hoosier Philly's a more likely winner. But to recount my selection for the 8th from Ellis, it's the Monomoy Girl. They're going to take the 4-horse Hoosier Philly, give kudos to the 1-horse Wet Paint, 4-1-5-6 super, 4-1-year multi-race. The 9th race from Ellis going to the lawn, it is the Chorleywood Stakes. It's going for $175,000 purse, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. Field of 9 horses going to the Ellis turf course, the distance of ground of 2,000 meters, or the 1.25 mile trip on the Ellis Park turf course. 2,000 meters, a 1.25 mile here. Starts at the kind of like Arlington Park on the top of the turn or the top of the stretch, a little bit of a kind of a chute. So I think you want to have good position here. I've always liked these. They don't call a lot of these 1.25 mile races at Ellis, but when they do, they're always exciting races to handicap, and they're very quick 1.25 mile races. 1:57.4 is a track record from a few seasons ago. Do they lower it today? We'll have to wait and see. But my top selection here, I love the 7-horse Bay Street Money. Let's go 7-6-4-2 in the superfecta. 7-6-4-2 super. Top selection 7-horse Bay Street Money. 6-year-old Gellin by Street Sense. Mike Maker trains. Gerardo Corrales gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 20th of May at Churchill, 1.5 mile in the Louisville Handicap, and the horse finished 10th by 11 1/4 lengths that day, and he just had nothing. Didn't stay the 1.5 mile. I don't think he liked the turf course, and he just never got going. I think cutting back to a 1.25 mile with a better post draw, sitting a little closer, I think he'd get the trip to win. He didn't run bad at Gulfstream, the Pan American, over the 1.5 mile. He finished second by 3/4 length behind Therapist, who's a stablemate and running back in this one today. This horse sat back early, closed up from nowhere, a little bit wide, just missed, but he ran his heart out that day. And then the Fairgrounds Stakes at the Fairgrounds on their so-called turf course. I've totally forgot about that. It's been so long since I watched Fairgrounds replay up until today by watching this horse in the Fairground Stakes. I totally forgot about their turf course this past winter. Hopefully they'll have a turf course by the end of the year again. But on that very wide or very narrow turf course, he finished fourth by 5 lengths, and he just wasn't having the trip to win there. And then Gulfstream and Option 75 on the lawn, he finished third by length. And again, he moved a little bit late. Nothing bad about that run. I think coming to a mile court, which he's bred for, he should get a good trip, and I think he could win. The 6-horse Foreign Relations, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes 2 in a, or 3 in a row now. Won the Louisville Stakes by 1.25 lengths from a wide post or from a tracking trip very easily by getting a 92 buyer. And then a mile and a half at Keeneland in a allowance race for 109,000. He won by 4.25 lengths, but because he came in the stretch and he basically clipped heels with the horse, and the horse unfortunately fell and had to be put down afterwards because of a broken leg. He ran good, but you can't cut off horses. They placed him 10th through disqualification there. And then a turf wave in the mile quarter and opposite 25. He finished 7th by 12 lengths that day, and he just kind of, never really got going. He ran terrifically before that, going a mile quarter turf way in a main special weight, winning by a length from a tracking trick. He took off clear. He started once here over the mile and a quarter here as a 2-year-old, as a 3-year-old in July of 2021 in main special weight, where he finished second by 2 3/4 lengths at a stupidly bad break, stupidly bad poster of breaking 11 of 12, basically breaking from the outside where the gate was positioned going a mile and a quarter. It's basically on the outside fence with a quick left-hand turn. He was way out of it early on, but he closed up from nowhere to get the place. Nothing bad after all said and done. Coming here today, better horse going to this 3-year-old campaign. It wouldn't surprise me if he wins, or 5-year-old campaign. Wouldn't surprise me if he wins. I'll use him on the ticket. But to recap my selection for the ninth from Ellis, it's the Chorleywood. Gonna take the 7-horse Bay Street Money. Give kudos to the 6-horse Foreign Relations. Where are we? 7642 Super, 76 in your multi-race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.